Welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur with Heather Hope. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Heather Hope with the Inspired Entrepreneur podcast. How are you doing? Happy Saturday. I hope you're doing well. Yeah. So I'm recording this on Thursday morning. And so Thursday morning, I didn't get my book yet. So I hope I'm not going to record anymore for a couple days, and we'll see what happens. We'll see. I'm expecting my book in my journal. So if you're new here, my name is Heather Hope. I've been a law of attraction business coach for the last couple of years. Before that, I was a law of attraction coach. I was a depression coach, and before that, I was a therapist. And now I just basically teach the law of attraction in general. And I wrote a book called The Inspired Entrepreneur, and it's 366 days of inspiration for the entrepreneur, for the self-employed type of person. And it is based on Abraham Hicks. That's who I've been studying for the past just over 2 years. Just incessantly consumed my life for the past 2.5 years or so. And some Bashar and some Sanaya Roman as well. So this is all basically channeled sources, what's it called? Infinite intelligence, that sort of thing. I don't follow humans very often because humans are misguided for the most part. We all are. We all have belief systems that are not serving us and interfere with our teaching at some point, especially law of attraction teachers. That's why I don't follow them. Occasionally, I might click on a video to get their little bit of insight. Sometimes the way that people word things are correct. I know I'm a human, but I'm in alignment with Abraham Hicks, and I do not deviate. Like, I feel really comfortable. I've felt comfortable for about a year at least of that what I say is in alignment. I just know. And coming from the psychology background, which is what most coaches draw from, I know that how Abraham feels about psychology for the most part, and all that. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. I've talked a lot about that in the past, but so I created this book. It's supposed to be coming, and we'll see if it shows up. Kind of got lost somewhere. I don't know. And my journal, I created 30 Days to Manifesting Your Success journal. This is the 3 things that I do nearly every day that has helped me manifest so many things that I wanted to in a very short amount of time. So it's a 3-month journal. It has 30 days per month, and it's undated, all that stuff. It's just guidance for you to do the same practice that I do. And so I'm waiting for that in the mail, the proof, to see if it looks good, and then I'll let it. I'll bring it out and sell it. So that's what I'm waiting for. So let's get to today's topic or today's message. This is from November 21st of the book. This is a daily podcast, by the way, for 1 year. It's daily for 1 year. I unless it gets super popular, I can't see it lasting more than a year, because a daily podcast for a year seems pretty like, wow, that sounds like a lot. It really does. I don't think too much. I never think about it. So that's why I just keep going in the direction of where I'm going. And that's today's topic. It's one line. Move in the direction of who you are. So we're going to talk about it. Abraham talks about like who we are. We're like pure love, source energy, positivity, like we're joy. Our baseline that we don't know about really is joy, happiness, love, all the good things. That's who we really are. Like, what is source? We are source. And to remember that, like, I remind myself of that every so often, especially if I'm getting a little snarky. I kind of remind myself of, wait, that's not who I am. And so the other part is, who do you want to be? So I did this. This is a kind of a lesson, part of the soul aligned business. So I announced it yesterday, that the night before, this was last night for me, that I got the thought that the soul aligned business is going to be a book. Since I created the course, which is, well, I created the academy, which is a bunch of audio recordings of the process of creating or attracting the soul aligned business. And in that process, I attracted my soul aligned business, which I thought I had already been running. So I was running a business that I was running because it made sense for me to run. Did I fully enjoy it? No, I did not. To be perfectly honest, I didn't enjoy a lot of things about coaching. A lot. I don't really enjoy internet marketing. I really don't. Not for coaching. So anyway, there's a lot of things. And the more I found out about, coaching, it really mixes your vibration up a lot to interact with people on that level. So it throws me out of alignment a lot. Coaching throws me out of alignment all the time. All the time. So I had to get honest with myself. And that's part of the program, is getting honest of, is what you're doing really beneficial? And if it's not, if it's like you have more complaints about the business that you're running than you do of the things that are going well, that's not soul aligned. It's like time to go. So anyway, so it's about attracting your soul aligned business, and you may attract the perfect business and it may not be the one that you are already running. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, so that's going to be a book, and maybe it's going to be the next one. If I'm feeling this, if I put my attention on it, right? If I focus on it, it will come. Like, it'll be written. And that was yesterday's topic of what you focus on, right? And if I focus on it, if I put it as part of my thing, since I, created these 2 books already, by putting my focus on it, because I really wanted to get them done, I can add this one to the list of things that I'm doing right now, since, to replace the other ones, and see if I just put some gentle focus on it, some thoughts about it, if I keep thinking about the process that I created, my clients who are in the academy might actually get the book and might actually read it. It might help. I'm the only one who's basically gone through the whole program. It's pretty funny. Anyway, it might be better in print form, at a larger scale. It just might be. It might be, because I think writing books is the best way to bring your message out to the world. I think it's the way that is less frustrating. Because if you create something and people just don't consume it, it's frustrating. But if you create something and put it out there and you have no idea at all, that's the thing. If you don't have a clue if people are reading it or not, or listening to it or not, like, you have no way of knowing. It feels better than knowing that people don't consume it. You know what I mean? Let me know if that makes sense. But it does to me. It does to me. So I like doing the podcast because I do it for enjoyment, because I like doing it, and I put it out there, and whoever listens to it, it's great. Yeah, I get analytics and I get some feedback, and that's great, but it's not. Anyway. Okay. So part of the program is deciding who you want to be. So today's message, move in the direction of who you are. That's partly Abraham's, telling us who we are. Like, at our core, we're loving, goodness, and that, on the emotional guidance scale, at the top one is joy, love. What else? There's lots of things up there, but, to remind yourself of that, have that in the back of your mind, and then decide, who do I want to be? I studied a lot of actors and certain successful people, and they decided who they were. Like Freddie Mercury is a really great example. Absolutely in love with Freddie Mercury. Love. And I did not like Queen. I was just one of those people, I mean, their first album came out when I was born. So that's always an indication that I'm not going to get into their music, right? It's just not going to happen. But I always thought it was weird music for the most part. I just never got into it until like Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie came out. My husband and I go to see the movie just because we were in this whole thing of watching movies all the time. We went to the movies constantly. And we walk in. I knew Bohemian Rhapsody, of course. I knew the song, and I thought it was just freaking weird as can be. I love it now, but I just did not get into it for my whole life. And so I did not read the synopsis or what this movie really was about. And I did not know who Freddie Mercury was. That's what's freaking crazy. Like that's where I was. I grew up on Michael Jackson and Madonna and some other people. not on Queen. So we walk into the theater. We sit down. The movie starts. Immediately within the first scene, I'm like, I see Freddie. I mean, I've heard the name Freddie Mercury here and there, just a little bit. And then, oh, excuse me. And I'm watching the movie and I'm like, I whispered over to Roger and I'm like, oh, Freddie Mercury's the lead for Queen. Like, oh my God, smack me. Like, oh my God. I find it so hilarious that I didn't know anything at all. I mean, you can't know everything. You know what I mean? You just can't. If you didn't grow up on it, you just don't know. But it sounds so silly. And so my husband's like a bit older than me. He's 13 years older than me. So he grew up on all this. He was born in 62. So it's like he liked Queen. He liked Queen, but he loves other like Pink Floyd, which now I love, and other things, Led Zeppelin and Rush. Oh, I can't stand Rush, but whatever. So he liked Queen. It just wasn't his favorite. It was bigger, of course, in England. Anyway, so I'm watching this movie and I love it. I've seen this movie probably 15 times now. I have the movie. I went in the theater, I think 3 times to see it while it was still out. That's how much I was obsessed about Freddie Mercury. I thought it was just the coolest story ever. And so Freddie Mercury, I mean, he changed his name. He became what his vision was, right? If you watch the movie or know more than me, his story is he had a vision of where he was going in his life. He was going to be that success. Like he had it in his mind. He changed his name. He became that person before he was that person. And I love that. So that's part of my program of deciding who you are. Who are you? And being that person now. And that's what I took the most from Freddie Mercury's story is he had that vision. He was that rock star before he was the rock star. Does that make sense? It's so cool. And a lot of people are like that. A lot of successful people had that vision. They stepped into that as a persona. Like you see it in the movie. That he was like when he walked into a room. And one of my clients at the time or last year, she's a singer. She's a rock star. And she had told me that, like, I think her father's friend or father's friend probably was roommates or something with Freddie and some of the guys back then. And she's like, that is how he was. He walked in like he was a rock star. He had that energy of that. Not many people are like that. You know what I mean? Not many people walk in like a rock star before they're a rock star. So, are you a rock star? It's really cool. It's really cool to decide, who do I really want to be? Like who am I? And also, to be honest, everything comes back to this honesty thing of, is that who I really want to be, or is that just sound like a cool thing? And is it really, because kind of like our personality is what we've chosen so far, right? But some of that personality is really how we feel, where we feel comfortable. And that's a good place for us to be. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Because it's like sometimes we try to reach so far that it's so not who we are, but it sounded like who we wanted to be, but then it ends up being like, no, I don't really like that. It's too much of a stretch for me. I like this, doing it for the right reasons, I guess. Choosing who you are for the right reason. Like, does it really truly resonate with you? Or are you just trying to be that way because it looks cool? You know what I mean? So move in the direction of who you are. So writing down, every so often I have my group write down, like, who am I? And I used to do that as a journal prompt. In the morning, I would write at the top of my journal page, who am I? And I would write to remind myself of who I really am or who I'm becoming. And, because we need to change our reality, we have to change how we see ourselves and how we interact and what we're focused on, right? So if we're focused on, how we've always been, then that's how we're going to be. I was just reading, let me pull out, I think I wrote it in my journal last night. I was reading The Miracle Morning, or The Morning Miracle, I don't know, on Amazon. I was just flipping through a couple of their books, and I was reading the one for millionaires. And there was a quote. I wrote it down because I thought it was just so pertinent to what I teach. Hal Elrod, the author of The Morning Miracle, said, "Where you are is the result of who you were. Where you go depends entirely on the person you choose to be from this moment forward." I wrote that down late last night. I mean, a lot of people have written very similar quotes, very similar statements, but you get to choose who you are. You just have to choose to be that person as much as you can. Like, if there's traits about you, like I was teaching this in my group of, like, if you identify as like a shy person and you keep saying I'm shy, I see this all the time in like people doing, starting a business of like, no matter what, I'm always going to be shy. There's always going to be a difficult situation and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, it is if you keep saying that. I mean, literally, it is if you keep saying that. If you keep saying that, I'm never going to get over my shyness, blah, 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 stop. You know what I mean? This stuff irks me because I'm like, but I understand people don't understand this. They listen too much to psychology and realize and think that who they are is just who they are. And that's just who they're always going to be. That is such bullshit. It's not even funny. You know what I mean? It's whoever you keep affirming yourself to be is who you're going to be. Whatever you put your focus on is what it's going to be. So stop saying that. You know what I mean? If you want to get over your shyness, stop calling yourself a shy person. Stop identifying as that. You know what I mean? So, part of the program that I do is the things that I no longer want to hold on to, like I said, like I call myself an introvert. Although I love interacting with people. My husband thinks I'm a walking contradiction, but it's not really a bad thing to identify as. I don't think it's terribly bad. I don't, maybe one day I'll just change and be an extrovert. I actually think I will become an extrovert because I love my new business so much and I'll be interacting with a lot more people that maybe I'm going to get rid of that. Now that I say that, I think I'm going to get rid of the introvert label. That is interesting. I'm going to let that sink in. I like that because I don't have to hold on to that identity. If I feel like, because I was telling my group yesterday that I feel like a big vibrational shift is happening to me right now. And the past 45 years is just super past. It's over. And that I've decided who I want to be for the next 45 years. I said, is this a midlife crisis? And I said, but it's not a crisis. It's just such a good thing. I'm completely changing who I am and what I do and where I'm headed, that all I see is absolute insane success. That's all I see now, because I've worked on this and I attracted my soul line business, and I see myself as a different person now. Like, I crave to be different. Like, I no longer want to work from home. Like, my business will always be from home, but I don't want to be here. I want to be out and about and doing things and not sitting at home behind a computer in my sweatpants, or sweatshirt. Like, I want to wear professional clothes again. Like, I'm craving that now. Like, I want to be this like professional that's going around town, meeting people, helping people do things. That's what I want to do now. Like, I used to wear professional clothes. I used to go to an office. I used to, have a professional title. I loved it. I've spent 6 years at home now. 4 of those years being a caregiver to my grandmother. So that was hard. And then the past 2 years, just coaching online. I'm done. I'm done being at home. I just want to be out. And I know part of that is like the stay at home, and now we're going to be locked down, but I'm going to be an essential business. I'm going to be I am an essential business, the new business that I've created. So as soon, if we go to lockdown, I'll be able to roam around as I please, which is really quite nice. And I'll be safe and all that good stuff. What I decided, I got this from somebody else, but I love the passive aggressiveness of it. That I'm going to be meeting people in their homes or somewhere, right? And if people don't want to wear a mask because it's in their house or they're just defiant, and I live in Arizona, so it's kind of a bit that way for some people. And so I decided, because I'll always wear a mask. I just will, because first of all, I don't like germs anymore. I'm not a germaphobe, but it's like, don't breathe on me, please. Like, don't, like, the more I learned about this stuff that's been going on, I just kind of get grossed out in general with people and their like droplets, and you know what I mean? Like, and if they've washed their hands recently, you know what I mean? Just in general of like, who knows what people are touching, and they're sneezing or they're coughing, or, you know what I mean? Just in general, I think it's now kind of gross. I get grossed out by my husband if like he doesn't wash his hands, or he sneezes like really big and he doesn't cover his mouth. And I'm just like, that's my husband. And I get grossed out because he's a guy. So anyway, so what I decided to do is, if somebody doesn't want to wear a mask around me, and especially for a lockdown, like, come on, I'm going to put a second one on and say, okay, well then I'll wear a second one just for you. Like, I know that's probably not like joy and happiness and being a really good person, but it's being protective. But I love the little sly of passive aggressiveness in that. Just a little bit of like, okay, Mr. Defiant, probably Mr. or Mrs., right? I'll wear a second one just for you. I thought it was funny. Anyway, just because of people are just gross. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at this point. Like, just people and their droplets and their, who knows when the last time they washed their hands, Anyway, living with a man makes me start thinking a certain way just in general. Like, okay, have you washed your hands? He gets mad when I ask him. But anyway, so I think I'm going to turn into an extrovert. I think I just am. And I know that I can. You know what I mean? Like, this stuff is not set in stone. You were not born a certain way. You can choose to change. You know what I mean? So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to think about it. I'm just going to like let it like settle in. Okay, guys, I'm going to go. I got to stop talking today. I got some things to do, and I don't want to keep too much of your time. So have an amazing rest of your Saturday, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.